Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Bigakar Ahmed and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about something very important, and this is the Palestine and Israel issue that is taking place right now, this genocide that is taking place in Gaza. It is branching out into the West Bank, and Israel is going ahead and putting together missions to go ahead and go into the West Bank, seize things in the West Bank, control the West Bank. And this is not good. And this is not good because Israel's stated message for their war on the Palestinian people is Hamas. They're not stopping until they get all of the hostages. They're not stopping until all of Hamas is gone, eradicated off the face of the earth. We all know Hamas isn't going to just come out and just put their weapons on the floor and give up. It's just not going to happen. It's never going to happen. The way their fighting style is, and they're getting money and they're being backed by Iran, and it's just not going to happen like anytime soon. So the fact that they're pushing into the West Bank now, Israel, the IDF, and there is no Hamas in the West Bank, and their stated reason for continuing this war and the way that they have, killing over 40,000 people now, is Hamas, and there's no Hamas in the West Bank. So I'm very curious to why in the world we're in the West Bank. So let's go ahead and figure this out.
Israel began another major operation today. This time, hundreds of troops have entered cities in the West Bank. Israel says it is targeting Palestinian militants there. At least 9 people are reported.
It's not just the West Bank, too. They're poking and pushing at Lebanon. They want Hezbollah to go ahead and respawn in South Lebanon. They've hit Beirut. This is getting out of hand. To the point where they're just going to keep pushing it if no one can come up with a solution where there's an end. And when I say no one, I mean the Israeli government. When the Israeli government literally says we're not stopping until all of Hamas is gone, and the Israeli government knows Hamas will never be gone, they literally are telling the world that we're going to just keep blowing all of this up until it's all ours, until we take it all, and then we're going to fight Lebanon next, and we're going to fight Iran next. And we're going to need the United States of America, and this is going to end up being in a World War stage type of deal. Something that's going to change the manifestation or the current climate of the world today. Financially, economically, culturally. It's going to change a lot of things. If this doesn't stop, it's going to escalate to a very, very big problem. One of the biggest problems we've ever had in history. So it really needs to be resolved because Israel right now is being allowed to do whatever they want, however they want, go into territories that aren't theirs, kill people that have nothing to do with Hamas or terrorist affiliations, bomb and hit other countries. They're able to do all of this stuff and provoke a very, very, very big problem, and then pull America into it, and pull, Europe into it, and pull Asia into it, and pull these superpowers into it, and cause a literal world war. So this is not a good time. This is not a good era in our timeline here, especially because who runs Israel is the Jewish people, and who runs the largest, industries in the world, the Jewish people, the banking industry, the transportation industry. These industries are owned by the Jewish people. So they're not going to take things very lightly when their country is being hit, and they own America, and they own Europe, and they own Asia because they own everything in it. They're not going to take it lightly, and these countries are controlled and make deals with Israel and with their Jewish business partners to go ahead and keep things in power structure. So let's just go ahead and figure out what's happening here in the West Bank.
Been killed so far. Now, this is the biggest raid into the occupied West Bank territories in 2 decades. This raid is a significant escalation following months of low-level attacks into the occupied territory. Nearly 3 million Palestinians live under Israeli military rule here.
Hamas says this is an expansion of the war against Palestinians. Israel says the raid was spurred by Iran using this area as a clandestine smuggling route for weapons to Hamas. Israel's foreign minister has suggested that some residents of the...
To smuggle weapons to Hamas through the West Bank is very odd. Just because if you look at a map, you can see that the West Bank and Gaza are completely split from each other. They don't border each other. They're completely split by the middle of the country of Israel. Meaning, in order to smuggle, you need like tunnels, or you need something that is very, very far in distance, like a country, like a 2-hour tunnel going to Gaza, or an hour tunnel going to Gaza, however long it takes to get across. I believe probably an hour. But this is something that just doesn't make much sense to me. Like, why would they be smuggling through the West Bank? They would have to be smuggling through the piers or through like Yemen using the Houthis or something like this. How are they smuggling it through the West Bank? How are people getting from the West Bank into Gaza at this moment when Gaza looks the way it looks, or whatever's happening there? Like, who wants to even go to Gaza? So it's very, very interesting how this is coming out to be, but it doesn't make much sense that if there is no Hamas in the West Bank, why would they be smuggling weapons and things for Hamas through the West Bank? And they're completely split from each other, and they're split by their enemy, Israel, who's blowing them up. So I don't know how they're getting the supplies and the weapons from the West Bank to Gaza and supplying Hamas when there is no Hamas in the West Bank, but they're giving weapons to Hamas from the West Bank. It just doesn't add up to me, but let's go ahead and hear what the story is.
Invaded area would need to leave their homes. Now, here to break it down for us is Executive Vice President of the Quincy Institute, Trita Parsi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us what you know about this, and if what we're hearing from Israel, it seems to be accurate?
Well, it certainly is accurate that they're going into the West Bank, and they have been for the last 10 months. They have killed more than 650 Palestinians in the West Bank, and we should remind the viewers that Hamas actually is not present in any strong way in the West Bank. That is controlled by the Palestinian Authority.
Almost 1 out of 40 of the deaths are people who are in the West Bank. The stated initiative of the war or this genocide by Israel was take out Hamas, eradicate Hamas, get them off the face of this planet. They're in the West Bank killing 650 people from the start of this war, and there is no Hamas there. So it has nothing to do with their stated cause for the war or what they're doing. Israel is trying to take Gaza and the West Bank. If you're too blind to see, they're just trying to take it. They just want it. They want it all to be theirs. And then they're going to start with Lebanon. They're going to start with these other bordering countries and eradicate their defense systems or eradicate their attack systems so that Israel can become bigger and stronger. There's nothing more to this, right? They want the Palestinians gone. You want to talk about ethnic cleansing? You want to talk about genocide? This is what is exactly happening to the Palestinian people. Israel wants Gaza. Israel wants the West Bank, if it's not clear enough. Now, when it comes to the West Bank, there is no Hamas. So they have no excuse on the world stage. They have no excuse when anyone asks them, but no one's ever going to do anything about it, right? Because America and everyone else is going ahead and helping out. And what's funny is America, the fighting force for the genocide on Jewish people from, the Germans, they go ahead and sit back and watch all these other ethnicities burn to the ground, right? Armenian genocide and all these other genocides that are taking place. And then what? They jump in when it's Jewish people only. And it's crazy that even when the Jewish people are the ones committing the genocide, America jumps in to help. So this has nothing to do with, we're fighting for freedom, we're fighting for democracy, we're fighting because we want to protect people from genocide. We want people to have democratic values and have freedoms. No. It's a bunch of BS. It's a marketing scheme from the United States. This is their motto, freedom, democracy. But they don't care about your freedom. They don't care about helping anyone. They don't care about genocide. As long as it's not on the Jewish people who run the country, it's on their own people, they don't care. If their own people are doing the genocide, they'll help them fund the genocide. But if they're getting genocided, they're going to go save them. This is just how it works. It's like your family, bro. This is how it works at the top. These people run the top of the industries. When top of the industry, I'm talking about governments. I'm talking about Apple. I'm talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about, your biggest transportation corporations that build your airplanes, that build your cars. These are all friends. They're all family members, probably cousins. And this is what happens when they're going through stuff. No matter if they're the ones that are transgressing and they're the evil one, or they're the ones being transgressed upon, they come together and they help each other out. Just like right now and what's happening. Israel is 100% the enemy. They're 100% the aggressor. They're 100% committing a genocide. They're 100% trying to take the land and push these people out. But the United States of America will continue to support them, will continue to fund them, and will continue to pat them on their back. Even though America stands for freedom and protection and rights and all of these things, they're hypocritical and they're garbage. When it comes down to things like this, it's complete BS, and people need to wake up.
But they've nevertheless gone in, killed more than 650 Palestinians, while at the same time taking more than 1,000 prisoners from there as well. Which we hear very little about in the media, mindful of the fact that these are not, they're not detained and prosecuted, they're just put into prisons, and some of them are put into some of these detentions that we now have evidence for, where massive human rights violations and torture has been taking place. So this is further escalation. I have to say, I find it very unlikely that not any of this would be happening had it not been for the Biden administration just constantly giving the Netanyahu government the carte blanche. I mean, after several vetoes against resolutions calling for not just a ceasefire, but also the release of the hostages and this constant protection of whatever it is that the Israelis are doing, whether it's assassinations in Tehran, in Lebanon, bombing raids in Lebanon, including in Beirut. Whatever it does, the Biden administration is providing diplomatic and political cover for, while also providing military cover, because we have now moved more ships, I think around more than 20 naval ships to the Middle East, essentially to provide the Israelis with impunity as they are committing these crimes with our weapons.
You mentioned the Biden administration's role in facilitating this.
Now, screw the Biden administration's role, bro. So Biden or no Biden, Trump or Obama, it doesn't matter who it is, the United States of America is not run by this magic president. If it was ran by the president, do we really think Joe Biden, who cannot formulate a sentence, who's literally wearing diapers, is running our country? If you believe this, you probably have a potato for a brain. There is no way Joe Biden is running our country. If you can see what's happening right now, right? Guy can't formulate a sentence. Guy can't walk up steps. Guy can't think straight, right? He can't hold a debate. He can't do anything. What makes you think this guy's running your country? What makes you think this guy has his hand on a nuclear button? What makes you think he has control of the army? What makes you think people are letting him? You really think people at the top are letting him run things? So think about it for a second. If your president's already not running the country, why do you need a president? Who's running it? Who's above Joe Biden right now? Who's making the calls for Joe Biden? If we go to war right now, who's making the calls? Who's sending this money? Who's sending these troops? Who's sending these warships? Who's doing this stuff? Is it Joe Biden? Is he really that there in the head to where he's doing this stuff? Or is there someone in the background? Is there a higher power in the background, above Congress or above whatever the case may be? These corporations or whatever, or a family, are they controlling it? Is there a Zionist Jewish family that has lineage and attachments to Israel, right, that are making these calls above Joe Biden? Because Joe Biden ain't doing anything. Wake up. We're going into an election. This is a big distraction to keep you guys distracted. You guys are going to jump on each other. No, my mom's like this because she's a liberal. No, my dad's like this because he's conservative. You guys are all going to fight each other's friends and cousins and family members over a choice that doesn't even matter. And I'm going to tell you this right now. They tell you your whole life, you need to get up, you need to go vote. You're 18, you're an adult now, you need to vote. It matters. Every vote matters. Every voice counts. They're liars. They're completely lying to you. They're going to do what they want when they want to do it. And it doesn't matter who the president is. And they're literally showing you in full-blown mode that it doesn't matter even if your president is a puppet. Even if your president doesn't have a brain, cannot formulate sentences. He's still the president, and we still run stuff. They're literally showing us. So it's crazy to me that from the time of like 9/11, when people are going ahead and saying, well, this is an inside job, and it wasn't George Bush. George Bush is too stupid to be doing something like... You're right, George Bush is very stupid to be doing something that magnitude, right? To be working in putting these plans out to where they're attacking their own soil to go ahead and get these plans going or these plans going. George Bush didn't do that. The powers above him did that. Those shadow people, or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call them, reptilians, I don't care what you want to call them, the Illuminati, call them whatever you please. There is a power that is a Zionist power that is above the government, that makes these calls, that does these things. They have their goals, they have their missions, they look out for each other, they look out for their family members and the people at the top, and that's what they do. Wake up. It's becoming very, very, very scary out here, and within the next year, things are going to start taking off. Things are going to start changing. Big domino effects coming. Big things going to be happening to our world economy, to everything around us, physically, mentally, economically, socially, culturally. It's going to be very, very, very dramatic in essence. So thank you guys so much for joining today. God bless every single one of you. And when it comes to this situation that's going on from the West Bank and Gaza, they should not be in the West Bank. There is no Hamas in the West Bank. Israel's intent for the war is to eradicate Hamas. There's no Hamas in the West Bank. So they're going to go ahead and push the West Bank. They're going to go ahead and push Gaza into the ground, and they're going to do as much damage as they possibly can, and they're going to displace as many people as they possibly can, while the world is watching, while the world lets them, until enough is enough. And then the land will be so weakened that it'll take 20, 30 years to even rebuild this stuff, and these people will be gone, if not forcefully pushed out within that time period. So that's what Israel's looking to do. That's what Israel wants, and Israel cannot wait to try and expand throughout the whole entire Middle East. Trust me, as much as they play victim, as much as they act like they're the ones that are getting genocided and people don't like them, they've been there for 80 years now, and they could have been blown off the side of the Middle East. They haven't been. If the tables were turned, if Israel owned the whole Middle East and there was this much Arabs in this little piece of land, we would have been gone a long time ago. The Arabs would have been gone a very long time ago. Anyone that was Muslim would have been gone a very long time ago. And it's crazy, the double standard. It's crazy what's happening today, and it's crazy what's being allowed to happen today, especially with social media, the internet, and everything to go ahead and expose it. But people still allow it to happen. Thank you guys so much for coming today. God bless every single one of you, and free Palestine as always. Bye-bye.